Air travel is supposed to feel liberating, but for many Americans, the dream of a quick getaway often collapses the moment they see airfare prices. For a family of 4, even a short domestic flight can easily climb past $1,000 before the vacation truly begins. That frustration created an opening, one that a small airline was ready to exploit. Spirit Airlines built its identity around a bold promise: flying shouldn't be a luxury. Long before it became a household name, the company started humbly as a trucking and charter service, offering low-cost travel bundles to popular gambling and vacation hotspots like Las Vegas and Atlantic City. In the early 1990s, the company made a decisive pivot. It acquired its first jet aircraft, rebranded, and began offering scheduled flights across the northeastern United States. Florida soon followed, and before long, Spirit was spreading nationwide. The concept was simple but powerful. Strip away anything unnecessary and offer airfare at prices that ordinary travelers could actually afford. At first, Spirit was just another budget airline in a crowded field. But as competition intensified and profitability remained elusive, the airline stood at a crossroads. It needed to become something radically different or risk fading away. That turning point arrived in the mid-2000s with the arrival of a new leader. The airline's future CEO believed that merely being cheaper than competitors wasn't enough. Instead, Spirit needed to be cheaper than anyone thought possible. His vision would transform the company from a low-cost airline into something far more extreme: an ultra-low-cost carrier. The idea sounded almost absurd. Could an airline really sell tickets at prices comparable to long-distance bus fares and still survive? The answer, it turned out, was yes, but only by pushing cost-cutting to uncomfortable extremes. Every service that traditional airlines considered standard would soon become optional, and every optional service would come with a fee. The gamble worked, at least at first. Travelers who had been priced out of flying suddenly had access to the skies again. Planes filled up, routes expanded, and profits finally followed. But there was a catch, one that would slowly come back to haunt the company. Because while Spirit succeeded in becoming affordable, it also became infamous. And as the airline rose, its reputation began to sink. But how did an airline that finally cracked the code on cheap travel end up becoming one of the most hated brands in aviation? Spirit's ultra-low-cost strategy was brutally effective and brutally unpopular. On paper, the fares were jaw-dropping. Cross-country flights for under $100 weren't uncommon. But those prices came with a rulebook full of fine print, and travelers learned quickly that the base ticket was only the beginning. On a Spirit flight, almost everything costs extra. Snacks? Pay for them. A soda? That'll be a fee. Checked luggage? Expected, but so was the additional charge. What truly shocked passengers, though, was the carry-on policy. Unlike most airlines, Spirit charged passengers to bring anything larger than a small personal item on board. A backpack or purse was fine. A rolling suitcase? That would cost you. Seat selection was another trap. Unless passengers paid extra, seats were assigned randomly at check-in. Families frequently found themselves split up. Couples sat apart. Parents worried about sitting away from their children. And for many travelers, paying to choose seats was unavoidable, pushing the final price far beyond what had been advertised. Spirit defended its model with a simple philosophy: customers should only pay for what they use. And many flyers accepted that logic. The airline wasn't pretending to be comfortable or luxurious. It was selling access. If you wanted comfort, flexibility, or peace of mind, you were expected to pay more. But where things truly turned sour was flexibility, or the lack of it. Spirit's cheapest fares were strictly non-refundable and non-changeable. Miss your flight due to traffic, illness, or emergency. You were out of luck. No credit, no reschedule. Just buy a new ticket. This rigid policy exploded into a public relations nightmare in 2012 when a terminally ill military veteran was denied a refund after being advised by doctors not to fly. Public outrage followed swiftly. Veteran organizations threatened boycotts. News coverage spiraled. Spirit eventually reversed course, issued an apology, and made a charitable donation. But the damage was done. The incident reinforced what many already believed. Spirit's policies left no room for compassion. And while passengers bore the brunt of that rigidity, they weren't the only ones feeling the strain. Behind the scenes, Spirit was running lean, sometimes dangerously so. Staffing levels were tight. Backup crews were limited. If a pilot called in sick or a plane needed repairs, flights were often canceled outright, and delays became routine. Spirit began ranking near the bottom of the industry for on-time performance. Travelers grew frustrated. Trust eroded. And slowly, the airline's reputation hardened into something toxic. With customers angry and reliability slipping, how did Spirit still manage to become one of the most profitable airlines in America?
By all conventional logic, Spirit Airlines should have collapsed under the weight of its reputation. Passengers complained loudly. Industry rankings routinely placed it near the bottom, and jokes about the airline became internet staples. Yet financially, Spirit was thriving. The reason was simple. The model worked. Spirit had proven something radical, that an airline didn't need to be liked to be successful. It just needed to be cheap. As long as prices stayed low, seats stayed filled. And as long as seats stayed filled, investors stayed happy. In 2011, Spirit took the ultimate step of confidence. It went public. The airline's initial public offering priced shares at just $12. Few expected much. But over the next few years, the stock skyrocketed. By 2014, Spirit shares traded above $80, turning the once scrappy airline into one of the hottest investments in aviation. Behind this financial success was the same CEO who had driven the ultra-low-cost transformation. For nearly a decade, his vision defined the company. But while investors applauded, cracks were forming beneath the surface. Spirit's aggressive cost-cutting didn't just frustrate passengers, it strained labor relations as well. In the late 2000s, the airline attempted to relocate or lay off hundreds of pilots and flight attendants. The move triggered a showdown with the pilots' union. After drawn-out negotiations, Spirit's pilots went on strike. For several days, the airline's entire fleet was grounded. Flights were canceled, revenue evaporated, and Spirit's labor reputation took a severe hit. Although operations eventually resumed, the episode exposed how fragile the ultra-low-cost model could be when pushed too far. Still, Spirit pressed on. Advertising grew more aggressive. Planes were wrapped in loud marketing slogans. The airline leaned into its controversial image rather than retreating from it. As long as profits flowed, leadership saw little reason to change. But shareholders eventually grew uneasy. Public perception mattered more than expected. And in a move that shocked the industry, the board removed the CEO who had built Spirit's identity. It was the end of an era, and the beginning of a risky attempt to reinvent an airline that had spent years proudly refusing to change. Could Spirit fix its broken image without destroying the very model that made it profitable? The new leadership team inherited a difficult paradox. Spirit was financially successful but deeply unpopular. Fixing one problem risked worsening the other. Still, the company tried. The incoming CEO focused on reliability and service. Training programs were revamped. Customer-facing employees were retrained with hospitality in mind. Operational discipline improved. Within a few years, Spirit's on-time performance jumped from worst in the industry to near the top. The airline even began adding amenities once considered unthinkable. High-speed Wi-Fi rolled out across the fleet. Planes felt more modern. The experience became marginally less painful. For a moment, it seemed like Spirit had found balance. Still cheap, but no longer chaotic. Expansion plans followed. New aircraft orders were placed. A new headquarters was announced. Momentum was building. Then, the world shut down. The COVID-19 pandemic crushed global air travel almost overnight. Flights vanished, demand collapsed, and Spirit's thin margins became a liability. Government aid kept the airline alive, but furloughs followed. Public scrutiny returned after a COVID-related onboard death made headlines. As travel resumed, Spirit was financially wounded. Its stock price plummeted. Survival now depended on something the airline had long resisted: a merger. Would being acquired save Spirit, or erase it entirely? In the early 2020s, Spirit became the center of a high-stakes bidding war. First came an offer from a fellow ultra-low-cost competitor. The deal promised scale, efficiency, and survival, but shareholders rejected it, fearing it undervalued the company. Then, a larger airline stepped in with a richer proposal. This time, the numbers were compelling, but regulators weren't convinced. The government argued the merger would reduce competition and raise prices. After a lengthy legal battle, the deal was blocked. The fallout was devastating. Spirit's stock collapsed. Investor confidence vanished. And in late 2024, the airline filed for bankruptcy protection. Though flights continued, Spirit was delisted from the stock exchange. Another restructuring followed, then another. Leadership resigned, staff were furloughed, routes were cut, and the future grew increasingly uncertain. Spirit Airlines had risen by doing something no one else dared to do, making flying brutally cheap. That same identity left it with nowhere to go when the market changed. Raising prices risked losing customers. Improving service cost money it didn't have. The airline that once opened the skies to millions now faced the possibility of becoming another ghost of aviation history. Was Spirit Airlines a revolutionary success that flew too close to the sun, or a warning of how far cost-cutting can really go?